Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello
Waalaikumsalam.
everyone. We are from Group 9. This group consists of me, Putra Amelia Nurjamjami, and my friend Muhammad Ridwan. And tonight we will present about the deep structure of culture in the study of intercultural communication. And the first material will be explained by me. Now, next slide. What is the deep structure of culture? So the deep structure of culture refers to the unseen foundation that shapes how people think, act, and interpret meaning within a society. It includes a culture's worldview, its shared values, and the social convention that guide everyday behavior. These elements influence how individuals understand situation, make decisions, and interact with others. It goes beyond visible cultural elements like language, clothing, or tradition. And next slide. The next slide is understanding the deep structure of culture. The deep structure of culture affect how people think, behave, and communicate in everyday situation. It operates beneath the surface and shapes the way individuals understand meaning in instruction. And here are several key influences. The first is worldview. It is a cultural lens used to understand life, human relationship, and reality. So basically, worldview are how a culture sees the world. For example, like in Indonesia, people are more flexible with time, which we usually call jam karet. But in Japan, people see time as something very strict. And the second, there is cultural values. It is represent what a society considers important. So cultural values are the things a society considers important. For example, like in Indonesia and other Asian countries, respecting older people is important. Like here in Indonesia, a younger people usually call the elder use pa or ibu. Meanwhile, in some Western countries, people often use this by their names. And the third is social norms are the unwritten rules that guide acceptable behavior. So social norms are the unwritten rules about how people should behave. Uh, like in Indonesia, for example, it is normal to take off our shoes before entering a house as a polite habit. And other example, like in Japan, usually people slurp their noodles while eating, which is a way to show that they are truly enjoy the meal. And next slide. Next slide, Fatim, please. The cultural structure also affect four major areas of intercultural communication. There is communication style, conflict resolution, building trust and relationship, and also facilitating intercultural competence. The first is communication style. The cultural structure have a big impact on how people communicate verbally and non-verbally. For example, in high context cultures, communicate communicate more indirectly, and vice versa. Low context culture are more direct. And the second, conflict resolution. Cultural deep structure also affect how people handle a conflict, like in collectivist culture, often try to avoid open conflict and handle things more carefully. While in individualistic cultures are more direct and open when handle conflict. And the third is building trust and relationship. Trust and relationship are also influenced by the deep cultural ideas. For example, there is a concept of guangxi in Chinese culture. There is refers to a network of relationship built on mutual obligation, and comes from Confucius traditions. And the last, there is facilitating intercultural competence. Knowing about deep cultural structure can help people communicate better across cultures. For example, an American students who are used to direct communication can avoid misunderstanding the silence and polite hints from Japanese students who often use indirect language style. And that's all from me. The next material will be explained by Ridwan.
Okay, next, family values in intercultural communication. Family values form an important part of the deep structure of culture because the family is the first place where individuals learn how to think, behave, and communicate. Family values are an essential part of the structure of culture because the family is the first place where individuals learn how to behave, communicate, and interpret social situations. The lesson children learn and form such as respect, politeness, emotional control, or independence become part of their identity and influence how they interact with people throughout their life. Next slide. Sorry. Okay, family values in intercultural communication. The first, their definition of family values, role of family in intercultural communication, the third different across culture, and the fourth impact on intercultural interaction. Okay, for the first, their definition of family values. Uh, Family shape worldview and communication style. Children naturally absorb what is normal in communication based on what their family teach. For example, in Indonesian families, children are taught to avoid interrupting adults, leads to polite, indirect communication. And then in American families, children are encouraged to speak up and express opinions, leads to direct communication. Different between collectivist and individualist families. Collectivist families, like in Asia, uh, prioritize harmony and group unity. Children learn to avoid conflict and communicate indirectly, and respect for elders is very important. Individualistic families in US or in Europe encourage independence and self-confidence. Children learn to communicate directly and assertively, and speaking openly is considered a positive trait. Impact on intercultural communication. When people from different family value system interact, understanding easily occur. For example, an Indonesian saying maybe later actually means no. Americans interpret it as uncertainty. And the second one, Americans give direct criticism. ASEAN may interpret it as rude or aggressive. And the last, influence of globalization. Today's youth are influenced both by traditional family values and global culture. As a result, many individuals develop hybrid identities, local and global values. Okay. Address challenge in deep cultural structures. Intercultural communication often becomes difficult because people come from different deep cultural structures shaped by their worldviews and values and social norms. Next. Okay, address challenge in deep cultural structure. There are enhancing cultural awareness and sensitivity, increased communication flexibility, reducing stereotypes and ethnocentrism, and the last promoting mutual understanding. Okay, for the first one is enhancing cultural awareness and sensitivity. Cultural awareness means we realize that people from different cultures think and act differently, not because they are strange, but because they were raised with different rules, values, and habits. Cultural sensitivity means we try to understand this difference with an open mind, not by judging or criticizing. When you are culturally aware, you stop assuming that everyone behaves like you or follows the same social rules that you learn from your family or environment. It's about thinking maybe the reason they act like that is because their culture teaches them differently. Okay, the mindset help prevent misunderstanding. For example, like a Korean exchange student in Indonesia rarely says no directly. Instead, he says maybe later or I will think about it. Indonesian student might think he is being unclear or indecisive. But in Korean culture, avoiding a direct no is a polite way to keep harmony. When Indonesian students become culturally aware, they understand he's not confused. He's just being a polite according to his culture. And the second one is reducing stereotypes and ethnocentrism. Uh, Stereotypes happen when we assume everyone in a culture behave the same way. Ethnocentrism happens when we automatically behave that our culture's way of doing things is the right or best way. To reduce this, we must accept that every culture has its own logic, and behavior must be understood based on its cultural backgrounds, not ours. For example, like they are rude. We should think maybe that's how their culture express honesty. For example, instead of thinking they are too quiet, we should think maybe silence is sign of respect in their culture. And for example, others, an American student always speaks directly in group discussion. I don't agree with your point. Indonesian student might feel hurt or think he's too rude. But for Americans, direct feedback is normal and even encouraged in school to show critical thinking. When Indonesian students understand this, they realize he's not attacking you. He's expressing his opinion in his cultural way. Likewise, American will learn that Indonesian use softer language to avoid hurting feelings. Okay, the third, increasing communication flexibility. Communication flexibility means we can adjust the way we talk depending on who we are communicating with. This doesn't mean changing our personality, it simply means being smart and adaptable. Being flexibility involves speaking more directly or indirectly as needed. Adjusting tone of voice, being mindful or gestures, choosing the right words for the right audience, changing how we give feedback or criticism. People who communicate flexibly or are better at connecting with others, especially in multicultural environment. Okay, for example, a German lecturer gives instruction very directly, like submit this by Friday. If you don't, you will lose points. Some Indonesian students might feel anxious because they are used to softer instructions. If possible, please submit it by Friday. Okay, the fourth or the last one, they are promoting mutual understanding. Mutual understanding means both sides are actively trying to understand each other's meaning, intention, and communication style. This requires empathy, asking for clarification when needed, listening carefully, and the last, not assuming negative intention. Miscommunication often happens not because people disagree, but because they interpret messages differently. Mutual understanding helps fix that gap. Okay, for example, in a group project, one Indonesian student use casual language. Bro, finish your part quickly. A Malaysian student might feel uncomfortable because in his culture, academic group work requires more formal language. Instead of assuming disrespect, they clarify their intention. The Indonesian student explained he meant it as friendly teamwork, not disrespect. They adjust their communication tone so everyone feel comfortable. This mutual understanding and action. Okay, now next slide.
Is there any question?
I want to ask Putri.
Oke, Mbak.
Okay, so based on your presentation, what do you guys think the challenges that usually appear when people with different cultural norms communicate with each other?
Okay, thank you, Badina. Is there other question?
Maybe I am Rafiriansa. I want to ask you questions. So this presentation is all about the very fundamental structure of cultural communication, right? And so my question is this for your group. In the era of technology and IoT or Internet of Things or Industry 4.0 or something that you want to be called that, what do you think technology influence the intercultural communication? Does it makes more people connected, ignoring all the very deep structure of it, or does it hinder us in connecting each others in other cultures? Thank you.
Okay, Rafli, thank you.
I have question, Putri.
Okay, Biba, what's your question?
In intercultural communication, values shape a person's communication style. Could you give an example of how family values influence the way someone interacts with people from different culture?
Okay, Biba.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Putri.
Okay, I will answer the question from Habibah first. So, um, family values really influence how someone communicates because we learn most of our behavior from home. For example, if someone grows up in family that teach them to speak politely and directly, they will likely use that style when talking to others people. Even when people from different cultures, uh, and they also bring that habit into intercultural situation. So basically, family shapes our communication style from the beginning. Is that clear, Habibah?
Okay. Thank you, Putri.
Thank you, Habibah. And now I will answer the question from Badina. So a common challenge in intercultural communication is misunderstanding because people from different culture often have different ways of speaking, different ideas about politeness, and different ways of showing respect. For example, one culture may communicate directly while another communities indirectly, and this is can can cause confusion. This difference can make communication difficult if both sides don't understand each other cultural norms or other cultural behavior. Is that clear, Mbak Dina?
Yes, okay. Thank you, Putri.
Thank you, Mbak Dina.
Okay, I will answer for this question. Sorry, Rafli, can you repeat your question?
Oh, sorry. I was interrupted back then. Okay, my question is this. So you are talking about the very deep structure of cultures and how it influence us on communication, right? So my question is this: in the era of rising technology, and we call this era the Internet of Things or in the Industrial 4.0. How does technology influence us in intercultural communication? Does it help us connect more in communicating with other cultures, or does technology hinder us in communicating with people from different backgrounds, family values, and other than that? Thank you. Is it clear, Ridwan?
Yes, so clear, Rafli. Thank you. Okay, I think, of course, yeah. The technology in the era of Industry 4.0 does influence culture and intercultural communication. It helps us connect more easily with people from different countries, and it gives us faster access to other cultures. Uh, so, but technology doesn't erase cultural difference. We still communicate based on our values and habits, even online. Sometimes technology even creates new misunderstanding, like misinterpreting messages, emojis, or tone. So technology can help us connect, but it can also cause confusion if we don't understand each other's cultural background. Mm, In short, like this, technology connect us, but cultural difference still matter. How roughly is it clear?
Okay. Thank you for your explanation from my questions, Ridwan.
Okay, my pleasure.
Okay, now for the conclusion, understanding the deep structure of culture is very important for good intercultural communication. When we are aware of difference in value, norms, and worldview, we can avoid misunderstanding and create interaction that are more respectful and meaningful. And that is our presentation this night. Thank you.
Thank you.